this is gonna sound so harsh. He's got one of those faces I want to punch. Do you know what I mean? Like someone who's just like, he just comes across a bit annoying to me. I don't know why.
I just can't help but feel like your entire reputation's built on fury and annoying people.
He's doing a good morning with a safety bar whilst also doing a tricep kickback.
Welcome to the Fit Dads podcast. I'm Brad Thompson. I'm joined by Ryan Dutton. And Ryan, influencers are best and worst. We want to know six-pack promises to questionable supplements. We're going to name names and we're going to spill the tea, mate. Who's inspiring real change and who's just flexing for the algorithm? Whether you're a gym rat or just scroll past workout reels, you probably don't want to miss this one. This is going to be like you've never heard the Fit Dads before. I'm confident with that.
Controversy maybe today.
Yeah.
We're not here to call people out, but I think it's important we share our opinion, right? I think people listen in for that. So we want to tell you who's inspiring us, who we are racing to the account of, and who we are actively unfollowing, avoiding. Not blocking, but just not paying any attention to.
You might not be blocking, mate. I'm not shy with that.
Are you heavy on that block button?
I'm a big blocker, mate.
Ah, yeah, really?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
I just, you think, I can't be arsed to see more of that. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's important to stress that this is our opinion.
Yeah.
All right. And I was semi-cautious about naming names. And we both said, didn't we, before you messaged me this and said, what about this for an episode? And I smiled. And Amy picked up on it. She's like, what are you smiling at? I just think it's a great one to just get his opinions out there and to say, we can probably save people a lot of hurt.
It's probably because we spend so much time on social media, don't we? Everyone does. Everyone likes to downplay their consumption of social media. I think it's probably as high as it's ever been, right? And if there's people out there that are influencing what we see online, we've got to make sure that we're directing people what we think is the right information.
At risk of keeping people on tenterhooks. How have you been, mate?
I'm good. Well, I am now. I got bloody COVID last week.
Yeah.
It's still going around, mate. I can't believe I caught it, come back off holiday. And I think it's on the plane, when you sit down and the circulating oxygen around. If anyone's got something on that plane, most people are walking off with it. So, yeah, I got it. My mum got it. Amy got it. And... I've had it 4 times now. Yeah.
Wow.
And every time I get it, I'm just like, it's the worst. It is the worst of the lot because it's hot and cold shivers, it's your fever. I always start with a really bad, I got this horrible piercing headache. And then just tiredness. Like it just seems to linger for ages. Even this morning, just getting out of bed, I just felt so lethargic. I actually took a whole week off the gym last week, which is rare for me. So, yeah, full 7 days. I got back in yesterday. And I think that's maybe what's caused me a bit of tiredness this morning. Just being back at it, pushing the heart rate again and doing a few things. So, yeah, bloody COVID still coming back to bite me in the ass.
Did you lose the taste and everything, the smell?
No, I didn't actually this time. No, I have done before, though. It was a very strange moment once where, a good few years ago now, I think, it's always the appetite as well that kind of goes. So, I might not eat much for like 2 or 3 days and then... One time when I got it, I was like, just the hunger came back for a moment. So I was like, right, I'm ordering a pizza. Fuck it. Got a pizza in. I got a Diet Coke with it. And I had my pizza, didn't really think twice. And I went to sip this Diet Coke to wash it down. And I was like, oh, it's off this. I tasted it again. I was like, it doesn't taste anything this. It was like drinking sparkling water. And I was like, oh, my taste has gone.
Yeah.
And that's when I realised at the time. But that's the only time I think it's gone. The taste has only ever gone once. The other 3 times I've had it, I've been all right. So my monsters have been going down well.
I can imagine, yeah. How's that flavour? What we got today?
We've got Ultra Strawberry Dreams. I've stocked up on these. I've got I think I spent 150 quid on monsters. I just got a bulk load of them because I'm just sick of going to the shop and spending time at my day. So my mate's a wholesaler, so he sent me a load.
Just got you a week's supply.
I was hoping they were going to last me like 6 months, maybe more, but we're getting through them pretty sharpish.
All right. This could be a challenge for you, mate.
Maybe, yeah.
How quick can R5 rattle through 150 quid's worth of monster? Yeah.
We'll do like a Tommy Frank episode again where see how many monsters I can sink in one episode.
For context, if no one's listened to that Tommy Frank episode, go back because I joke with Tommy. I see him quite a lot in the gym and yeah, that monster went to him, didn't it?
Just people who don't normally have energy drinks or caffeine, and then they have like who's that girl at the gym? There's a new girl working there. Is it Hannah?
Hannah,
I saw her yesterday, and she was on reception saying that she never really has energy drinks or pre-workout. had her first pre-workout. She was bouncing off the walls, and she's like, I loved it. It was like crack cocaine. I'm having it every session now.
Again, give me more.
How about you, mate? What's been going on?
Been all right, yeah. Just got back from the lakes. I had a working trip out there, which were quite nice. I think I told you when I got the call through to say, do you want to come and do an assessment in Windermere? Snapped their hand off. I do a bit of work for YMCA, which everyone always asks, which one were you? I always say I'm the cowboy. So yeah, it was just nice just to take Amy and Ted along with me. Stayed in a tiny house on a farm.
It's really cool, actually.
Yeah, just really cool. So I recommend stuff like that. And it was just so quiet.
Was
really
that like an Airbnb type one, was it?
Yeah, normally when I stay away from work, I want certainty. So I'm like, I'll just get a Premier in. And Amy raised her eyebrow and she's like, come on, we're coming with you. Do you want to just go somewhere novel? Let's go and live on a farm for a night. They just try it.
It looked like one of those ones, when you're scrolling through Airbnb and you see like really mad little places to stay come up. It looked like one of those. It was almost like, it looked like a bit of like a Romanian traveller's like gypsy cart thing. Yeah. But
it was sick. Like, it's just nice to, just novelty, isn't it? Yeah. Stayed just outside of Kendal, so stocked up on Kendal mint cake. I do.
Oh, is that the thing around there, is it?
Have you tried it?
No, I don't like mint.
See, I don't. But this is where I get a bit weird because it's basically pure sugar. And I found out the story where on the first ever, I think it was a successful summit of Everest in like the 50s, they needed quite high calorie, really dense food to take up to the summit with them, something that'll store really well. And they reached out to this company in Kendal who do mint cakes, and they decided to stock the journey. Wow. So that's where it got world famous after that.
Mint cake's been to the top of Everest.
Yeah, and they've got all sorts of flavours. So
they've got like on every single like billboard over there and every shop saying world famous, been to Everest.
Although one gripe I've got with Windermere in particular, they had a lovely little waterfront, and I thought, I'll get on a boat. Why not? Went to go and park, and the northerner in me just wouldn't allow myself to pay $6.50 for an hour.
Wow, that is a lot.
I'm like, what is this?
I think the Lake District is like that though, isn't it? Because it's short on space. Like even routes in and out of the Lake District it's like very narrow A roads. So when there's a traffic jam, it's like you're stuck there for hours.
Yeah. But no, man, I feel quite lucky doing stuff like that. Because even though we're PTs and this is what I used to do for work, I used to travel the country and assess. So it makes it more special when I can take family with me and when it's just, off the cuff for YMCA. So
almost don't feel like working, right? You feel like you're kind of getting away with one a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just like, you're paying for my hotel here and my mileage. That's mint.
Mega. So, I've got an assessment in Malaga. Could I would fancy pay for that as well?
Apparently loads of Scottish assessors turned it down as well because it's too far. And I'm like, too far? It's like 2.5 hours. We're like, come on.
Yeah. What's it for me? About 2.5 hours.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah. On the way back as well, have you ever been to Ye Old Mustard Pot?
Ye Old Mustard Pot?
Yeah.
No, what's that?
It's in a place called Midhopeston or Midhopeston, however you pronounce it. It's near Langsett Reservoir, so it's on the way to Manchester. So we went over Snake Pass and then went into an amazing pub called Ye Old Mustard Pot. Unreal.
What did you have?
They had this burger and it had black pudding on it. I'm a bit of a weirdo for like...
Burger with black pudding? That sounds a wild combination. I've never even heard of that. I'm not a massive fan of black pudding, so I don't really... It doesn't sound like my bag, although I love burgers. But it ruins a burger for me.
I've been before to this place and I had an Elvis burger, which was basically like a beef burger, but it had bacon, peanut butter and banana on it.
On a burger?
Mate, it was so good.
I mean, I like all those things. I like all the above. I just can't imagine what a banana and peanut butter on a burger would taste like.
Nice.
Must be some kind of weird satay vibe.
Yeah, it were like that, especially with the bacon as well. It were. Is the one.
Well, I had a client send me something over the weekend. There's a bakery over in Kelham Island that does like waffles with fried chicken on top.
Yeah.
And that combination with maple syrup, like maple syrup on fried chicken, just for me sounds like the maddest combination. But you see a picture of it, and you're like, that actually looks banging.
Looks good.
Apparently it's an amazing combo. But maybe burgers with banana and peanut butter is something that we all need to get on board with.
I recommend. Amy had a steak pie, which I highly recommend. One last food recommendation, if you will, because I told the chef that I'd do this. There's an amazing place in Kelham Island called Roku, which is a Japanese place.
Yes, I've heard of this place. It's supposed to be really good.
Amazing. I felt very cultured this day. I went with a Dutch friend of mine, so I'm sat there with a Dutch guy eating Japanese food, and it was mega. And the chef, whose name escapes me, he was just insane. Like, just talking to us about like the history of the food and just how well it was prepared, and
mega.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I do like Japanese food.
Yeah.
It's like the poke bowls, isn't it? That's kind of the more modernised version of it. But obviously the sushi, we absolutely love sushi. Sashimi. Oh, could eat that all day. It is pretty healthy. Let's be honest. I mean, there's a lot of rice in it, but it is healthy stuff.
It really shocks me, actually. Like, you tried tuna steak from a proper Japanese place?
I don't think I've had a tuna steak there, no.
Mate, it were like, I know how to describe it. Imagine like a steak texture, but it just melts. Oh, like, honestly, that I might go back this week. It was so good.
That good.
Yeah. So I recommend.
Nice.
Shall we, mate, start throwing some names under the bus?
Let's start positive, shall we?
Should we start positive?
Yeah, let's start positive.
Let's go for it.
Who's someone you like to go to the account of? Who's someone who, when you're scrolling through your feed, you see him pop up and go, this is going to be a good one?
For the nerds, Connor Harris. If no one's ever heard of Connor Harris before, I highly encourage you to give him a search now. A lot of biomechanics, a lot of understanding from a coach's perspective, how the body works, like postural drills you can do. Amazing for people who sit down a lot. And Connor talks a lot about rib cage positioning. And as someone who is very like front focused from doing a lot of press ups as a kid, I've always struggled to, correct the posture, if you like. And some of Connor's teachings have been amazing. So Connor Harris is, for the nerds, one of my favourites.
Anyone who can help out with those things that we actually really understand very little about. Like, everyone would like to improve the posture. Everyone thinks it could be a little bit better. So if you've got someone out there just giving you the little tips and advice, I think that's really good. Yeah.
So yeah, great.
On that same vein, I think probably one of my top guys is there's two actually. Who do I go for first? Let's go for the knees over toes guy.
Ben Patrick.
That's it. He's got a phenomenal account when it comes to sorting out knee health. And for someone like me who's suffered with bad knees the whole life, and he's currently on a bit of a rehab program, some of his stuff's a bit of a godsend really in terms of ideas and different things to try, because you can kind of get stuck a little bit with some of the same physio exercises that you get diagnosed with, or prescribed, shall I say. But this guy just gives you loads of different things you can go and do, good progressions. And I've never actually signed up to his course, but there's been moments when I've been on the website and thought, do I go for it? But I've got someone else in kind of the corner at the moment pulling the strings physio-wise, so I'm following that program. But I definitely think if you've got any issues with your knees or you want to improve range of motion in your legs, that's someone to go follow too.
For context as well, knees over toes were quite controversial in our space for a while, weren't it?
Was it?
For sure. Don't let your knees travel over your toes.
Absolutely.
Which, from experience, someone who's got really long femurs, like thigh bones, like me, I can't help but put my knees over my toes because that's just how I'm positioned and how I'm built.
I thought you meant Ben Patrick was quite. I was thinking I've never heard him be controversial, but I can't imagine him being because he comes across like a lovely bloke.
Yeah.
But that kind of biomechanical movement of actually putting your knees over your toes, especially when you squat, was always frowned upon, wasn't it? It was always like you never want that knee to go over the toe. But actually, most people will do that if you've got like a particularly long femur bone. So yeah, it's nice to it's nice that he's almost like jumped on that, and it's a bit of a, I guess you could say, a bit of a play on words to a certain degree, because he's using it as a way of really promoting his brand.
And I suppose in that same vein, sticking with the anatomical guys, there's another guy I follow called Ben Yanes, very similar to Connor Harris, but Ben's great because he does a lot of just poo-pooing or other influencers, people who are like, do this for this, and he'll get a skeleton, like a model skeleton, and he'll say like, right, I want you to imagine that I'm going to lift this up. Here's what your clavicle does when you do a lat raise. Here's at it. And I just think visually it's absolutely brilliant. So I'm a big fan of Ben's work, and he spoke about that a lot with the knees over toes.
Yeah.
And that's when I first heard of joint stacking, which is like, if you don't let your knees go over your toes, your ankle's supposed to be for mobility. The next joint above that, your knee is meant for stability. So if you end up, imagine your ankle's in like a ski boot, your knee's got to do the mobility and it's not supposed to. So he's probably a big driver in the industry from a biomechanical point of view. Who again, going quite nerdy, but I think there's a lot of general pop stuff that people can benefit from.
Just people just make sense. Like when you hear them talk and you're like, that makes so much sense in my head. And maybe this is a little bit potentially like there's a lot of people who are just your average Joes and, people who are mums, dads, maybe looking to kind of get, started as well. But if you're looking to kind of find those 5-10% about how to optimize the way you move in the gym, these guys are all people you want to check out. My second one, probably again in this same region, is the Australian strength coach. Do you know who the Australian strength coach is?
I've heard of him. I imagine he's a strength coach.
He is.
And he's Australian.
Yeah, he is.
Perfect. Cool.
He's actually Hap Thor Bjornsson's coach.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Are you on Instagram now?
I can be.
It's because I've forgotten his name. I've forgotten his actual name. He's that well known as the Australian strength coach. I can't remember his name. So if you don't mind looking that up, but he, when it comes to strength, is just a fountain of knowledge. He's a bit like Louis Simmons from Westside Barbell.
Yeah.
One of these kind of guys who was a pioneer in the early days. He's probably more so like that today. Pioneer is probably like a little bit of a strong word for him, because I think he expresses and tells his thoughts and explains things extremely well. Have you got his name there?
I have. His name is Sebastian Oreb.
Oreb.
O-R-E-B. So I'm sorry if I've butchered your name there, Sebastian.
He's that well known as an Australian strength coach. I genuinely have never even heard that name before. No. I actually didn't know he was called that. Right. But yeah, this guy's awesome. Like if you want just like quick daily, weekly tips on how to improve your strength and little things that just make lifting easier and can go a long way in terms of getting you to some bigger numbers, he's a guy to follow for sure.
Love that. Yeah, I love that. And I think if you can listen to his soothing Australian tones, or is he a C-bomber? Does he drop a lot of C-bombs?
I think he swears a lot like most Australians do. Does he drop C-bombs? Probably occasional one, I would imagine, yeah.
It's just part of their vocab, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just in the language.
All right. No, I love that. Another one from me, Ryan, is Ben Carpenter. So bringing it back home on home soil. I say that, he's in America now. Do you follow Ben?
Do you know what? He annoys me a little bit.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. I don't know why. He's just one of those guys that I think... I don't know. I can't... I've seen him cropping up. I know he's quite big on social media. I think he's done really well, obviously, on there. But when I see him crop up, he's just got... It's just going to sound so harsh. He's got one of those faces I want to punch. Do you know what I mean? Like someone who's just like a bit annoying. Like he just comes across a bit annoying to me. I don't know why.
I've got a question for you about this. As a Liverpool fan yourself, I feel like you'd appreciate, who would you want to punch more, Bruno Fernandes or Garnacho? Because they are two extremely punchable faces.
Fernandes. Yeah, Fernandes, because he's been there longer and he's just a bit of a rat.
Fair. Right. That's good to know. Back to Ben Carpenter. I'm sorry for that. Sorry for that transition. I really like how he comes from this really positive place where his videos are a mixture between people just tagging him in stuff from other influencers talking shite, basically. And Ben, who's sort of going to be like, well, here's why that's not true, or here's the nuance. I'm a big fan of people who find the nuance in stuff rather than just speaking in absolutes all the time. And yeah, I like Ben's approach. I know what you mean. I think I'm just jealous of his chest and shoulders, if I'm honest, because he's always in a string vest. But yeah, I don't know. He's someone who I think's played the game very, very well. I just like his character. Have you heard the story about when he learnt, I think it was Korean? I think his wife's family's Korean.
Yeah, I've seen the video online.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
It's impressive, but again, I don't know how much of all this is for social media, because it was all over social media, wasn't it? They really used it as a bit of a ploy to, I think, excel both him and his missus' accounts. Yeah. So... I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff they do that's for social media. And I think, when you kind of see people who are kind of a little bit in that world and a bit absorbed by it, I kind of see him as one of those. But what I will say is some of the things and the videos I've seen cropping up, he does talk some sense on. So maybe it's just me. I don't want anyone to make any preconceived opinions of him based on my opinion. But if you want to be educated, I think he's got some good stuff out there.
I think that's the cool bit about its opinions. Like I like his stuff. You raise an eyebrow at him, and that's fine. One thing, and again, to mention Ben about like playing the game a little bit and doing things to grow his account. there's probably easier ways than learning Korean. Just get your arse out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I will come on to that in a little bit.
Okay.
About getting your bum out.
Okay. Yeah. One of my next ones is people who like inspire me. I think that's probably one thing that on my social media I try and really keep quite high. People who just have this ability to like make me want to work harder, and probably more from like a personal training standpoint rather than like work and business. I got heavily into all that stuff when I first started R5, and I was trying to develop my own business, and you really you affiliate with these people trying to grow theirs. But I think over time, the business guys are kind of all just selling you something now. Do you not think? Like, you feel like every guy is, just this hustle hard mentality is usually just trying to sell you something. When you peek behind the curtain, you realise that actually they're probably not very happy either. And I see that a lot nowadays. And so I'm kind of probably moving more away from that, trying to find this nice balance, more of a nice balance between like work and family and things like that. So my social media generally is guys who are like just training like absolute machines in the gym. And I'll reel off a few names. I think one of the top ones, just because he's got an awesome physique. And every time I look at him, I just go, I need to work harder. I need to work harder because I want to look like that. Ollie Marcham.
Ollie Marcham, yeah.
He's got a phenomenal physique and works hard, great business behind him as well. And just think he's a cool guy. There's just certain people you see online and you think that's just something that I really like the look of in terms of the way he performs, how he conducts himself, his unbelievable rig. Probably the opposite's like Ben Carpenter, right? Where I see him and I go, I don't really get that. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. But I think in that same space, Nick Bear. Do you know who Nick Bear is? No, Nick Bear is an American guy. There was murmurs and whispers that he was the guy who like phrased or coined the term hybrid. I think we might have spoken about it on the Hyrox episode, or kind of, where did this term hybrid come from? I think his name got thrown out then. But he's a guy who was like into your bodybuilding, strength stuff, and then just started pushing the heart rate, doing longer runs, pushing like big cycles, and does a lot of these kind of fitness races and competitions, has a supplement company called BPN. So you kind of have to take a little bit of everything he says with a pinch of salt sometimes, because he's got an agenda, he's got something he's trying to sell. But he also loves that space and he's very driven and is up at 4 or 5 in the morning, running before he takes the kids to school. He documents a lot of his life, very, very good on like social media and YouTube, and breaks things down quite well in terms of where he is with his performance, what he's focusing on, and you kind of get quite invested in his journey. He's one of those guys who documents so well that you kind of want to see him do well. You kind of want to see him get better. So that's another one. And then I guess the third one I would add into that little trifecta of people at the moment who are really inspiring me is Jake Dearden. Just remind me. Jake Dearden is a Hyrox athlete primarily, but he's got a big background in running and just a lovely lad, like no ego about him at all. Like, you see a lot of these guys, like even Nick Bear and Ollie Marcham, they've got a bit of like a swagger to them. They're quite cool. Again, I relate to that. I like that. But Jake's just this quiet, silent killer, very understated. When you see him on interviews, he's quite downbeat in the way he talks, and you kind of get the idea that he's just not getting caught up in the limelight of it all. He's just there to work hard and wants to be his best. I kind of relate to him a little bit because he's had a lot of injuries as well. Okay. So I've been plagued with injuries my whole life, and little things crop up now and then, and I'm constantly battling something. And I feel like he's kind of the same. He's always harbouring something. He's always working around some rehab program for a certain issue. He is in like what's called the elite 15 of Hyrox competitors, so the best 15 males in the world. The others have different categories, so best 15 males, females, things like that. He's in the elite 15 males every time, and phenomenal athlete. But he had to pull out of this year in Chicago because of a back injury. I think it was a back injury, or was it a knee injury, something like that. So I just relate to his journey. He documents obviously a lot of that on his YouTube as well.
You mentioned a word there which is relatable, and I think that's really important, and what will more than likely cover with as like best and worst with this, because a lot of the people I really like to follow are really relatable. And my next one sort of combats one of my least favourite, which we'll come on to in a bit, which is a guy called Mark Strathern. who runs a company called Built for Coaches, who admittedly I am in at the moment. And the reason why I decided to invest in Mark is purely the ethics behind it, the values, the ethics. I love his message. He is someone who will bring himself to the floor, but do it with structure. And I'm a big fan of that because I'm someone who's very open, very honest, but very slapdash. So I just almost needed that structure to make the most of my time and not to make it feel just the way that I live, the way that I run business, the way that I conduct sessions. I needed structure. And Mark's definitely introduced that to me. But I still believe that a lot of people can learn from Mark. So if you're a general pop or if you're a mum or a dad, like Mark lives out in Dubai, but you'd never know. He just doesn't post about it. He's not like a Dubai coach. He does, I think he did a 100 miler in the desert, like 40, 45 degree heat. So he's no stranger to hard work.
Running?
Yeah, running.
Jesus.
Just insane. Does a lot of Hyrox stuff. I really like him and I relate to him a lot. And that relatability aspect is really, really important for me to stress.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got anyone who's not like health and fitness related in your list?
Good question. I've got, yeah, but you could make a link that he is. I don't mind dropping his name in now if you want.
Yeah.
Jocko Willink, one of my favourite authors from a self-development aspect.
Yeah.
Ex-Navy SEAL, was really influential in the war on terror from an American side. And I just really like his views on leadership. So not necessarily health, fitness, but the way that he leads, the way that he takes responsibility, and just his view on life. He's got great humour. I find that sort of stuff really hilarious. He's very dry. I just like Jocko.
He's cool, he's motivating. I've listened to so much of his stuff over the years, read both his books. Extreme Ownership is phenomenal. That really changed my mindset around not allowing ego to get in the way of things and actually, like it says, taking ownership of the things that you do, good and bad. And I think he couldn't be any more Navy SEAL if he tried. Like, he's got the squarest jaw you can ever imagine, the meanest, snarliest look. Like, if you had to put like your typical Navy SEAL uniform on someone and put him in a movie, it's Jocko Willink. But yeah, just speaks a lot of sense. Very clever as well. Very, very clever.
He's written a lot of books as well, which Ted's not at the age where he can read them yet. A lot of kids' books. One called Way of the Warrior Kid. And I honestly think that Ted reading those when he gets older is going to be a big influence on him because...
I didn't know that. He's written kids' books.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's got...
That's interesting.
What is it? Mikey and the Dragons.
Mikey and the
Dragons. And something called Way of the Warrior Kid, which I think they're going to turn into a film, which is great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is cool.
So he's someone who's taken his platform, burst onto the scene. I think he went on Tim Ferriss's podcast. That was the first podcast he ever did.
Right.
And he went on Tim's. I think the second one was Chris Williamson.
Was it?
So I think he doesn't do many podcasts at all.
He's done,
and then he did Rogan.
He's done loads of Rogans.
Yeah, but his first one with Tim Ferriss, and Tim Ferriss is like, we need more of you. You need to speak. Cool. So it was like a reluctant influencer, if that makes sense. Very reluctant, but he's got a big message to share
now, though, and
yeah,
he's got a very clear message for sure.
And he's hard as nails as well.
Oh, no doubt about it, mate. He's got his thing on. I follow him on social media, and if you scroll through his like homepage, his whole profile is just like his watch, and I'm like, why has he got so many pictures of his watch? He has his little Casio that he wears, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it now, because every single watch it shows like 4:30 a.m.
Yep.
And that's him starting his workout or finishing his workout sometimes. And I'm like, he's sending that message like, this is me. It's almost like he's using his social media as his own accountability a little bit. It's like, people are expecting me now to have this watch posted most mornings, so I better keep it up. My next one, again, non-fitness, health related, a guy that I actually came across on YouTube and then started following on Instagram, but just love when his stuff pops up on my timeline. Guy called, I don't actually know his, again, I've been terrible here. His YouTube name is Mike OK.
Okay.
Just type that into YouTube and just see what comes up, see if his name comes up. Now, I came across Mike OK.
So this is a guy who went to North Korea?
Yes.
I've searched this
Yes.
on your recommendation, and
Yes.
it's pretty epic, isn't it?
So I was just randomly scrolling through YouTube. I like to do that occasionally because I just get a bit bored of Netflix sometimes. So I just put YouTube on, see what kind of stuff I can get stuck into for half an hour. And this image popped up. That's the guy.
That's the guy, yeah.
Was it say his actual name on there?
Unless his surname is actually okay, but
His surname's O something. Like,
Okay.
I think it's a play on words. O'Keefe, or I don't want to mislabeling, but going through YouTube, see this little image pop up. It's a guy, and at the top it says North Korea, and I'm like, this is strange. What's that guy doing in North Korea? So I've got to obviously watch it, and I think it's got like nearly 10 million views now. And essentially, what this video is him. It was a normal English bloke from down south somewhere, just going around North Korea, being shown around by the people who are conducting this tour. I think it was something like over 7 or 8 years since any tourists have been let into North Korea, and they decided to let like some journalists and online people in there. My first thought when I watched the first 10 minutes was, why have they chosen this bloke? Why have they let this random YouTuber into North Korea? This is a really weird move of all the like big travel shows out there. But then you realise that, he's getting like 1 million hits a video. So he's got a massive reach. So of course they're going to get someone like this. But he's super down to earth, and I've kind of come to really, really like the guy. I think he's great. I think he's got this nice way about him where he's very down to earth, very logical. Extremely pleasant as well, because it's very difficult to go around a country and interact with people and stay positive and actually extract information from them and learn about their culture without really knowing their language. And this one in North Korea was very staged. It was like they had to kind of be shown certain areas and they'd stay in certain hotels. But his YouTube channel is essentially like a travel show, but a really like low production, very down to earth travel show. But I just think it's what people want. They want that real raw side of. I mean, at the moment he went from Pakistan to China and then all the way around China, and he had to go via Tibet, and Tibet's like forbidden from foreigners. So there's this one bit where he gets into Tibet. And he's like, I can't believe I actually made it. Like, it's, I shouldn't really be here as a foreigner, but let's just go and see what some of the local culture is. So he meets this like bloke who's on the street kind of shouting a little bit, and he's intrigued by him. He goes, okay, well, this guy looks drunk, but I'm going to have a drink with him, just see if I can get some information out of him. This guy brings out a bottle of God knows what. He said it was somewhere in between like gin and vodka, and they end up within about 15 minutes sinking the whole thing. So within 15 minutes, he sank this whole bottle with this bloke, and he's pouring shots into this glass that are like, half a glass, and they're just necking these things. And then he goes, this travel show is now turned into a piss bloke just wandering around Tibet, and then he ends up like pitching this tent in his very drunken state, and he wakes up in the morning, he's got a sore head. So it's just super real, it's super raw, there's no like rhyme or reason to it. It's like, right, I want to go from here, and I want to go 800-900 miles away to here. This is what I'm just going to document it. It's really raw, it's really open, and very endearing bloke, yeah.
I feel like there's definitely a transition happening right now, because one thing I noticed is, remember when Hormozy first came on the scene, Alex Hormozy, and he did a lot of talking head stuff, like it's now known as Hormozy style, where it's like really fast paced, like, there's explosions happening, there's all sorts of like zoom in, quick out, quick cuts every 3 seconds. I think everyone's a bit bored of it now. Yeah. And I think the real raw stuff, like the unorthodox camera angles. I watched a video the other day of this guy filming it from like the right side of his jaw, and it were hilarious.
Yeah.
And we've got
filming what? What was he filming?
In fact, what was he doing? I'll give it. Do I give it away? We've got a guest coming on soon, and they film themselves having conversations with people, but they find it difficult having conversations. But the way that they were doing it and being really raw and open and honest.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to give away who it is, but...
I think I know who you mean, okay.
But they had fun with it. And it's just such an unorthodox camera angle that you're like, oh, this is interesting. And like, they're just doing it so...
Eye-catching.
Yeah, really eye-catching, because it's different. It's different and it's raw. And
it's almost like the kind of like the real aspects of it now is what draws people's attention, because so much is set up and staged and high production online now that it's kind of going like full circle. People coming back to like, I can barely tell what's going on in this video, but I can see some people shouting or having an altercation or something's going on, and it's quite eye-catching.
100%.
But yeah, I honestly, if anyone does anything this week, go and check out that North Korea video from Mike O'Kane. Just check out some of his stuff. Like he hitchhikes across countries and literally just puts his thumb out. He has this little like laminated piece of paper in the language of the country he's in, and it tells them who he is, what he's doing, where he's going, and what he kind of needs from them, which is usually like a lift somewhere. And I thought he's just got it nailed down to a T. And he's probably someone who's spent a long time traveling and then just thought, you know what, I'm just going to document certain things. And there's certain political issues in certain countries. He'll go and try and explore those. He just wants to educate you basically on the world. And I honestly feel like I've almost like weirdly been to a little bit of these countries. Like I've never been to China, but I've watched his recent China videos and I've just thought, do you know what? I want to go to China. I've got this real like desire now to go and explore it and see what the kind of major cities are like.
I mean, for context, one of his thumbnails is "Welcome to Paradise," and he's crossed out paradise and put hell.
Yeah,
and I'm like, cool. I'd watch that.
Yeah,
80 Years Lost is another one. China's Empty Lands. So he's eye-catching stuff, man.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's got his eye in the game when it comes to promote his YouTube. But like I said, it's him that's the real selling point because he's just so down to earth and like as you know, two mid-30-year-old English blokes, we can relate to that stuff. He's almost like, I think he's about 26, 27. He looks a lot older than he is, but he just loves to drink and he's no holds barred. So yeah, check him out. He's good.
Seeing as we're coming away from, I suppose, fitness side of things now, I'm going to share something I've never actually publicly said of a YouTube channel that I follow.
Okay.
And this is going to make me out to be a huge nerd.
Right.
There's a page called...
I knew that anyway, mate.
Yeah, you do. There's a page called New Rock Stars, right, with a guy called Eric Voss, and he does a lot of like nerdy sci-fi breakdowns. I'm obsessed with that channel.
Is this your like Marvel DC guy coming out?
Yeah, he basically goes back, watches films or watches series and comes up with all these Easter eggs. And it's really made me appreciate, like, for example, one of the videos he did, he broke down... You ever seen the film Tenet?
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's very confusing, isn't it?
Fucking mad. No one's ever been able to suss it out.
Yeah.
And Eric went back, watched it. It basically took him 9 months, but he's like, I think I've got it. And, it shows you what an absolute genius someone like Christopher Nolan is, because there's little nods in everything, and the way that he structures stories and films, and I just respect it even more. So for me, if I go and watch a film, I'm then excited to see Eric's breakdown afterwards, and it's such a weird like circle of life that I've got going on.
That is cool. So does he do it with not just like the Marvel and DC stuff, but he does it with like loads of different movies? And
he's just broke down the South Park Trump first episode. Have you seen this?
No.
Fuck, mate, I'll show it you in a bit.
Okay.
It is the wildest thing you'll ever watch. It's basically an AI generated Trump, and South Park just rip him to shreds.
Is this a new South Park episode?
Yeah.
Is it?
Mate, it's really bad.
Oh, wow.
So,
South Park and Trump fans then.
Mate, they don't hold back either.
I'm sure Trump's been on there before, though, in the past. I'm sure he's been
Not
on
like
some...
this.
Not like this, oh,
Not
really?
like
okay,
this, no.
okay. They've gone in.
I will show you.
Okay, I need to watch this.
It's the most shocking thing you'll ever see. I'm serious.
That's on my watch list.
Yeah. Now, any other great influences for you, mate?
Probably staying away from the fitness stuff. I'm not sure if you've heard of this account. There's quite a few of these that do this style of stuff. But there's one guy that I think the authenticity of really comes through in it. It's a guy called... He's known as MD Motivator.
No, I've not come across him.
So have you seen these videos online now where people just give away £1,000?
Like Mr. Beast, just being like, yeah, if you... I'm
but
just going to surprise someone.
Like, oh, they just go... How are you doing today? Like, just tell me something about your life. They start telling like they've got like, you know, certain issues, certain health conditions, and they go, wait there, I've got a truck for you. And he gives them keys, and they go outside and they're like, what the hell? Who are you? Why are you giving me a truck? This guy, MD Motivator, I'm not sure how it started. I've no idea the background, but I think it just started from him wanting to be a bit more positive online and obviously wanting to help people. He would obviously film it from like a little chest camera he's got, but he'd have like another guy somewhere filming this interaction. And you could say maybe it's staged, obviously it is to a certain degree because they're set up with cameras, but I think they just find people who just look like they need help. Like there was one of the most famous ones was a guy, so he used to go into libraries and he was quite well known for all his opening lines being, I'm really hungry, I haven't got any food, would you mind spending a couple of dollars? And people would just turn him away, and he was in this library and he was keeping his voice down. This one guy sits there and he goes, I'm really sorry, I haven't got any change on me, but if you let me go to my bag, it's in my locker, I'll get you some change. He goes, yeah, amazing. So he goes and gets his bag, gets some change out, gives it to this guy, and he goes, I'm actually a bit of a fraud because I'm not here to take money off you. I'm here to help you. And he hands him an envelope, and it's got like $1,000 in.
Yeah.
And the guy just breaks down crying, and he goes, I'm literally 2 months late on my rent. I'm an international student here. There's a chance of me not finishing my course, having to go back home. He was from like somewhere in Africa. He was speaking with quite a heavy African accent, and he was just like, this has changed my life. I can't believe it. And then what he did off the back of it, I think, was set up like a GoFundMe page for this guy, because obviously people were flooding the comments saying, this guy needs more than £1,000. What's he going to do in like 2 months' time when his rent runs out? So sometimes he'll set up GoFundMe pages. I think this guy raised off like hundreds of thousands of pounds. People have put into this GoFundMe to kind of support this guy's education and, set him up. And so he's well known for this, and there's quite a few accounts that do this, but they seem quite inauthentic, like they're doing it for the clicks and attention. This guy just seems really nice. Have you got his account up there, MD Motivator? Just go. I can't remember his name. I really want to give him a shout out because he's just really cool. And he's linked up with a lot of celebrities. Like I think he's done some stuff for like Kim Kardashian, where Kim Kardashian said, "Look, I want to fund one of these, so I'm going to give you like some money or something to give away." Maybe there's some promotional content in there as well. That's the guy. Yeah. Do you want to go about saying his name?
I can try it. This is, I'm normally pretty good at this. This is Zachary Derenovsky.
Yeah.
There's an L in there somewhere, so I'm sorry. Zachary. If I fucked that up.
It's a silent one now.
Yeah.
But he just goes to people and says, "My name's Zach." Like he's a bit like Michael Cage, got a warm heart about him and very down to earth, and you see he genuinely wants to help people.
Do you ever randomly just gift people things, or just like, it's one of my favorite things to do, like genuinely, when I'm not filming it, I'm not being like, I gave this homeless man £100. But like, I'll just do random stuff. Like I'll go to McDonald's and be like, look, take an extra £5 or just take it off their bill. And like, they'd never know.
Wow.
They just sort of subtract it from the bill. And
it's
like,
nice that, mate.
It's really nice. But it probably started from wanting to stop this young lad from McDonald's getting in trouble. A couple of years ago, this guy, like, he was quite new to the job in McDonald's, and he turned me card machine. I paid for it, and he went, "Oh, no." And I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "Well, I've just charged you for car behind. I'm really sorry. Like, I'm going to have to get manager." And you could see him stressing out. And I'm like, "Oh, it's fine, mate." I'm like, "I'll just pay for theirs. Just let me pay for mine."
Yeah.
And he looked so confused. He's like, "What, really?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, just it's fine." Like, I said, were you getting shit if you have to get gaffer?" And he's like, "Oh, it's not my first time doing this." I'm like, "It's fine then. Yeah, just tell them that it's sorted."
Wow.
And then just like driving
really
away,
nice,
just looking in rear view, it was so nice to see.
Yeah.
And like, they were, I think I paid for, it weren't like a small amount for McDonald's. It must have been like a family of 4. So I'm like, oh, why couldn't this just be just a coffee?
But that's a really nice thing to do, that, because you're just helping someone out in a bit of a situation. You can see him stressing out, and you've just had the kind of, the generosity to be like, actually, I'll take the hit for you, mate.
Yeah.
Really nice that. I love stories like that. And I tend to do that kind of stuff, but more, I guess you could say, just helping friends out with things, like on maybe like a slightly bigger scale. So I definitely don't want to delve too much in the details of who I've helped and why, but like I had a friend who needed a car, basically. So I bought him the car, and he just paid me off on a monthly basis. There's a few other things I don't really want to like kind of tell too many details about, but I do like helping friends. I probably don't help strangers as much as I should. Maybe I should be more generous with that. Yeah. But I'm a big fan of, like, if you can just help friends in a situation, or kind of, it's usually monetary things, isn't it? They either need money or they need your expertise. And I've definitely helped out friends with like fitness and written them programs, things like that. But in terms of generosity towards strangers, maybe that's something I need to step my game up on.
You just get a feeling sometimes. I don't know. You get a feeling, you're like, no, I want to help you out. Because I'd remember it if someone did it to me. And it's just nice to be like, oh, that's really kind of you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I remember Joe Rogan saying one time he would just like, he would go to meals and he just like at a tip he just lived like $100 bill, and the meal was only like $30-40, and he was actually telling this story. I think it was one of his friends that was telling this story, and they would go on tour with him, and they were like his comedian friends, and they would just see like this absolute like hysterics, like people would be crying, like waitresses would be like, oh my god, he left me $100, like that's so good. And Joe Rogan called it like, you're leaving like a little love bomb somewhere.
Love bomb.
A little love bomb, just
That's
a
nice.
little bomb of love just somewhere. And, you know, this guy, I think at the time was on, what was his big show in America? It was Fear Factor. He was on Fear Factor. He was making like £1 million a show, I think, at one point. So that money to him is nothing. But I like the fact he was like, that would just spread so much positivity and joy. And you've got this thing, which is money, that can actually, you know, help people a little bit and spread positivity. And, you know, people get a bit weird about it sometimes, don't they? They want to collect it all and hold it all.
Yeah.
But I think being more generous with it is, it's better all round.
Before we start transitioning into people who annoy us, there's a famous story of Keanu Reeves, because he funds a lot of like anonymous projects charitably.
Right.
And somebody went in and found out what it is he actually does. And he were pretty annoyed, the fact that they dragged his name into it, because they're like, I do this anonymously. I've not done this for any clout, for any power dynamic. It makes sense. I've grown up with nothing. Why not pay it forward? And I remember him just being really annoyed, being like, stop looking into my charity stuff. I don't do it for that. Just stop
It's
it.
the opposite of what most people do it for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Literally, people do it and they can't wait to tell people, like online or wherever it is, how much they've helped people out. But he's, again, Keanu Reeves, what a guy, right? You know, just someone who's he trumps the trend of what most people are doing today, which is trying to do things for clout, whereas he's doing it just to be an average Joe.
It's great. Why not? You would if you could.
Should we get a bit more controversial?
Shall we?
Go on, kick us off.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Right. I don't think you'll like this first one.
I won't.
No.
I think we're not here to be in agreement with anyone. I'm not here to please me. Just tell me who you don't like.
I'm struggling with Matt Walker at the minute.
Who's Matt Walker?
The Why We Sleep author.
Oh, really? Ah.
I'm struggling. I've been in contact with James Wilson quite a bit.
Yeah.
And having him on and speaking to him about, I suppose, the science of sleep, and you start spotting fear-mongering. And it's a bit like, well, is this going to help people? And the statistics that you see of people who read his book and then sleep worse is mind-bending.
Really?
Yeah. And I just sort of think...
Because there's like, he's trying to instill the perfect sleep rather than like what works for you.
Basically, yeah. So I'm a little bit like, look, your message is spread far and wide. Like, you've had a huge influence on the sleep space, but is it the influence that you want? People are now more aware of sleep, but being more aware of sleep isn't like being aware of climate change, where you can do something about it. It's like, if you're more aware of sleep, it actually can be a detriment. So I just think it's a fine tuning in his messaging that he probably needs to start saying, look, here's how it can apply to you. Because I struggle with that. If I feel like someone's in too deep and I'm like, if you pivot now, this is probably not going to go very well for you.
Talking of being in too deep, there's another person that I'm going to come on to, but I just want to touch on that because I actually read Matt Walker's book and slept really well afterwards.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I actually think it's like whatever book you read, there's going to be bits that you take from it, right? And I remember speaking to people who read the same book and they've been, oh, did you remember that bit about this? I go, oh yeah, I did. I forgot about that. I didn't really take that from it, but yeah, I do remember that little aspect of the book. And then I tell them something, they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So with a book like Matt Walker's, where sleep is there's so much to it, right? There's so many different dimensions to sleep and there's so many different anecdotes that he has in there. But one of the best things that I took from it was from like a napping point of view. Like, I'm not a really big napper. I sleep when I have to, and I'm a bit of a binger every now and again. So I'll go many, many weeks and months without really kind of, getting enough sleep, and then I'll just have like a weekend where I crash out. And I remember after reading that book, I was napping like most days for like an hour to 90 minutes and actually guilt-free, because I was like, I know this is good for me, it's good for my health, it's good for my recovery. And it was one of the best weeks ever, that, because I usually feel guilty for taking a nap, like I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
We hear all this. I think it's still ingrained in me from younger, like sleep is for the weak, sleep's for the poor. If you want to do anything in life, you gotta avoid sleep. And And I think that, that book really cemented a few things in my mind. But do you follow him on Instagram? Do you follow him on social media? Is that where you're seeing some of this stuff?
Yeah, and I think for you as a well-rounded individual, you'll read that book and you'll take away important points. But I've really tried to put my consciousness in the form of someone who knows nothing, and it's so overwhelming and it's so stressful. Like, if you're not doing this, did you know that? Or if you don't do this, you could die from dementia in whatever. Like, for most people who don't know much about the body, that's a hard thing to read, because if you can't sleep, you then think, I'm going to die of dementia. Like, some people's brains work that way, and I just can't help but think that there's a coaching methodology there. So as much as he's a practitioner, I think he's an outright scientist, and that's a bit of a theme for me, where if someone's a scientist outright, their job is to test. Their job's not to coach and be empathetic. So
it's difficult though, because I guess you can't say that scientists can't produce books, because they're just they're laying out the facts. I think maybe if people of a certain mind frame who maybe play into that kind of fear mongering a little bit and overthink certain things, maybe it's not the book for them.
I don't think it's malicious. Again, I just think he's in too deep. I really do. I think he's a scientist whose message spread really far.
Yeah. And
he's almost become an accidental influencer. So I can't help but look and think, have you done this by accident and you're a success by accident? Because he should have really been the one to maybe gather the information and not present it. Because I always think it's probably my views where everything needs to go through a coaching lens. Yeah. Because when you release a book, what are you trying to do?
Help people.
Help people. Is it helping? We'll see.
It's tricky with books, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or any information you put out there, because sometimes you're not there to sugarcoat it either. You're there to just lay the facts down.
Exactly.
And I sometimes think about that when I've produced content in the past, where I've been like, sometimes it might not be helpful, but sometimes people just need to hear this stuff.
Yeah. Health and fitness, as in fitness in particular, fitness and nutrition, cool. You can will that into existence. You can't really will sleep into existence, if that makes sense. You can't just lay in bed and be like, I'm going to have a great sleep. You probably just need to relax. And
sleep's a state of mind, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's a being at peace. And I think the more at peace you are in your own mind, generally the better sleep you get.
Yeah.
You can probably go as far as saying, if you want to find out how at peace and happy someone is and content in life, ask them about the sleep. How well do you sleep at night?
Yeah.
If they say like a baby, they're probably pretty happy with what they've got and where they are.
I just think if they've sought out that book, they're probably not all right.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Maybe. Yeah.
Anyway.
I actually read it off the back of... I don't think my sleep was too bad when I read it. I just read it because I was interested in it. You have a lot of clients who, struggle with this stuff, and it's probably worse now than when it was before, but I think that's probably just with workload and capacity and stuff.
Yeah.
But I actually got recommended to a friend back home, and he said, we've read this new book that everyone's reading down here. It's called Why We Sleep. I said no, and I thought, well, I've got quite a lot of clients who suffer with this, so I'll give it a go. And yeah, I took loads from that. I really did.
I promise there's a very small percentage of population who are reading it just because they're curious, just like you were.
Yeah,
I promise you that there is.
Yeah.
But, over to you, mate.
Oh, I've completely forgot my next one. Put me on the spot now.
For context as well, Ryan's doing this with no notes, and I'm here.
I knew I'd remember it. I knew I'd forget one. So we're on the ones that are controversial, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about ones and people that are in too deep. Now, there's such an obvious answer to this. For me, anyway, based on recent events and what's been going on. And this is actually a topic that I wanted to bring up on the podcast, and I'm glad this is the opportunity to do it. Liver King, right? Mm-hmm. The Liver King is a guy who went down this route of being in too deep with a lie and couldn't get out of it. And that's with the whole steroids thing, right?
Yeah.
So he was selling, his program initially was this 9 ancestral tenets, ways of living, moving, sleeping. And there's a lot of dimensions to this. And he obviously thought it out in detail. It was quite a well thought out plan. And the message of it is, like most things, it's living more naturally. There was some weird things, like he was turning off the Wi-Fi at night because it was like radiation to the brain and stuff. There was some quirky and kooky things. But the general gist of it was, eat more whole foods and you'll feel better. And the message was really nice behind it. The message was, I got into this stuff because my sons were really, really ill. Nothing. We were taking him to the doctors, spending, I think they were making quite a lot of money anyway, so they were spending hundreds of thousands trying to cure their kids. Nothing worked. They started giving them basically liver, was one of the main things, and animal organs, and a few of the kind of little supplements that they created. But it worked, and the kids felt better. But it was very, very clear at one point that this guy's super jacked, in great shape, but verging on the side of like too jacked, a little bit too muscular, a little bit too ripped and veiny and vascular. And so he made headline news because he was like making these really good, captivating videos, talking a lot of sense. He was just like one of these guys who makes it big very quick on social media because he's very captivating. But then people start breaking it down and going, right, what is this guy really about? And he basically went on podcasts all over the world and was like, I'm natural. People asked, it was kind of like, it became like one of the hot topics on every single podcast he went on. Are you natty or not? Because he would always have his top off as well. And he would always say, I'm completely natural. And then Joe Rogan started bringing it up on his podcast, and there was a little bit of a controversy around it. And then there's a guy online on YouTube called More Plates, More Dates. Have you come across this guy? So have you seen him?
I have, since I've heard him sort of expose Liver King, if you like. Yeah.
But he's been doing this for years. He was the kind of guy who, because you can never really tell, right? If people can say they're natty or not, but this guy, his name, I'm terrible today with names. More Plates, More Dates. I'm sure you're on it now. He broke down Liver King, and he just said, look, this is the cycle he's on. This is what he's taking. This is why he looks like this. On this video, he's on this. Have you got his name there?
Derek,
that's right. Yeah, Derek.
Just Derek.
Derek from More Plates, More Dates. And he got exposed, and it was really bad. And actually, there was some emails that were leaked. That's what was it. So there was some emails leaked between a supplier of like steroids in the US and Liver King, and Derek exposed all that as well. And he was just so in too deep with this lie, he's not on steroids, that he had to keep going with it. And then all of a sudden on YouTube, you see this video of Liver King coming out saying, actually, I'm sorry, I lied. He had his tongue between his tails. It was like I lost my way a little bit, man. I wasn't sure what I was doing. I was blindsided by the tenants. But really, he was just trying to look jacked, attract people with his physique, sell his supplements and his products. But this guy wasn't making small amounts of money. This guy was making over £100 million a year.
Do you think he's the ultimate fitness charlatan?
It's hard to deny against that right now, I would say.
$100 million a what, a month?
No, a year.
A year. I mean, still.
Yeah, a year.
Still, that's
substantial amounts of money in this
for
industry.
A charlatan.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe, possibly. I think with the lies and the deception, and he even recently lost a plot online. Did you see this? No. Oh God! Like he basically got a public social media meltdown.
Wow.
I can't believe I've not spoken to you about this before. I can't believe you've not seen it. It's been everywhere. Like
black block button, mate. It's very heavy. It's heavy, mate.
It's the bad thing about the black button. You get to miss all the juicy goss like this,
That's
right?
it.
So Liver King had a full-on meltdown online where he just started making these really weird videos, like of him, where he looked like he was on something. His pupils were dilated. He was talking in gibberish and codes and just off his rocker, basically. And he was making them they were like 2-3 minutes long, sometimes 10 minutes long. And then he was like, I'm going to go. He was dropping Joe Rogan's name, saying he wanted to fight Joe Rogan in an MMA match and all this random stuff. And he said, I'm going to Austin, Texas. And I was like, sure, you're not going to Austin, Texas to fight him. I don't think Joe knows about this. Next thing you know, he's in a hotel room in Austin, Texas. He's wandering the streets. He's got his phone. Apparently, the rumours are, it's not been confirmed, but the rumours are Joe Rogan called the police on Liver King. And so the next video on Liver King's social media is either the cops are in his hotel room, he's getting arrested, and someone, I don't know who, if it's his wife or someone, is filming the whole thing. But complete meltdown. Yeah. And that was fascinating to see this kind of rise and fall. And then after all this kind of came out, I thought, well, the documentary came out recently, right? And I don't know if it was to promote all that as well. It probably was to promote some of the ratings on there. So I watched the whole Liver King documentary. It is really strange to see this guy who actually started off with, it's like most people, they start off with a really good message and they got into it for a really good reason. He was helping his sons, found this thing that worked, wanted to help other people. But along the way, the money and the fame and the social media and the clicks and the attention just captured them. It's like a vice around your balls, isn't it? And you can't seem to get out of it. And he's just had a complete demise now.
I've almost got a little bit of sympathy for these people, because when you look back at, I'm going quite deep here, mate. I'm going to talk about Stoic philosophy. When you look back at like really ancient philosophical thinking, there's a quote that I got from Ryan Holiday, which is, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if you think about, if he's earning 100 mil a year, you are in a very like small category of people. That power, that influence, some people are going to be corrupted by that. So I always have a little bit of a look, just be aware, because there could be people out there just ripping livers out of chickens and scranning them, just unsanitary or whatever. And someone once described Liver King to me as paleo on steroids. And they said all this before it all got outed. And for anyone who doesn't know what paleo is, it's living like your ancestors. If it ran, swam or grew, you could eat it. And that was Liver King's basically. And
you would eat it nose to tail, right, basically, wouldn't you? You'd eat every aspect of it. And I do think there's something to that. I think we probably don't eat enough organs. Like if you look at, in the Serengeti, right, when a lion takes down a bull, what's the first thing they eat? It's the organs, because it's where the most rich nutrients are. So we probably don't eat enough of that stuff. But I think Liver King's message was just a bit over the top. It got more and more intense as the years rolled by with him.
I'm going to transition now, mate, into someone else who's over the top in my eyes.
Okay.
You ever heard of Dr. Joel Seedman?
Name rings a bell, yeah. Go on, who is it?
I'm going to show you, Ryan, Dr. Joel Seedman, and I would like the audience to hear Ryan, that's if he's not blocked, to hear Ryan's reaction when he sees
You should have just gone into your block list, mate, for this.
I should have, yeah, really. I don't know. I want social media to be a really positive, not very triggering space, all right? I don't think there's any sound on this, mate, but I'm going to show you some of Joel Seedman's stuff. I'm going to turn it round, all right? And what I can only describe as circus exercises. Now, the downside with Joel is he's a doctor, so he gets a lot of clout, but the setup that I've seen, I've heard of people trying to copy this, where there's some mad setups there. He never breaks 90 degrees. Wow. He does a lot of isometric holds. The setup's a bit weird and wonderful.
All right, video number one, just for context for everyone, for what I'm seeing here. He's got a safety bar on his... There's a guy with a safety bar. It's loaded up with 180 kilos. He's not holding the safety bar on his back. He's instead holding the trap bar, also with 180 kilos. So he's got a trap bar and a safety bar on at the same time. That looks wild.
That's what we're going to try and show you. That's the weirdest one that I've seen, where he's got a trap bar and a safety bar.
Yeah. He's obviously, is he working with a lot of athletes? Because there's a lot of things where they're on like Bosu balls and there's a lot of stability work. And it kind of seems a little bit of a mixture between some maybe more explosive, powerful Olympic lifting, power exercises, explosive movements, and then somewhere between like, and I don't want to say it because it's actually one of mine, do you know functional patterns?
I think so.
Have you heard of functional patterns where they do like quite swift, dynamic body movements? It almost seems a little bit like that. But there's a lot of sports athletes and kind of strange things on here. He's got one here where he's basically got two straps over his shoulders, and on each strap at the bottom is two barbells. Do you know what I suspect with this stuff? I mean, how many followers has he got? Right, 440,000 followers. So I suspect with this, some of this stuff is for reaction. Like, we call it rage bait nowadays, don't we? Where you post something so outrageous that people can't wait to comment, and that gets a lot of engagement because people are so pissed off. On the best ways we know to get people to comment online is to get them annoyed, and hence the name rage bait.
The bit that bothers me is if someone's quite happy to make a career out of that, I just can't help but feel like your entire reputation's built on fury and annoying people, and I'm like, is that really how you want to live your life? Like, so it's more of probably a value judgment on my part because I'm like, look, you're a doctor. You've clearly had to go through some hard studies to do this. Do you really want to be doing circus exercises when you probably don't do that with most of your clients? Let's be honest. It's just stuff that he's probably filmed and gone, this person's at such a level that we can now challenge them in a very weird way. Yeah. Which is great. And don't get me wrong, like, there's some stuff there, like, some of it's based on sound principles, other stuff's just built on, go on.
Just come across another one, he's doing a good morning with a safety bar, whilst also doing a tricep kickback with some dumbbells.
Why?
That's a phenomenal combination. I mean, the ingenuity is quite impressive, but you just don't ever want to combine those two exercises. No. It's just not needed.
Bit that bothers me is I've seen fail videos online of people trying to copy the setups and getting really hurt. Yeah, so I'm just like, well, why are we putting bells and whistles on stuff that don't even move?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because like, if you're, like I say, you're an elite athlete and you're online and you're looking for like really advanced movements and things that are going to increase your stability and power, some of this stuff might work pretty well. There's some okay things in here for stability, but how do you monitor who's going to be influenced by it? It's a bit of a tricky thing in my mind as well, and something we spoke about a little bit before in one of the conversations. Like, you know, it's difficult to kind of get out there what you want in terms of your audience and who's going to pick up on it. But this he's obviously, you know, he obviously knows what he's doing. He's even breaking down like Squat University.
Probably saying it's boring.
Yeah.
And then there's him being like, we need to make things really, really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Which actually leads me on to my next one, which is Squat University.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, no, do you know what? Sorry. Not this. This is the bad category, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah.
He was meant to be in the good category. My mistake, sorry.
I panicked then.
I know that your face dropped.
I nearly ended recording.
Right, that's it. I'm storming out. No more Fit Dads podcast. No, Squat University for me, sorry, is before we brush on to like more the negative ones, he's definitely someone that you want to follow. Squat University, he's in the same category as like the Australian strength coach, works for a lot of like athletes and people who require specialist techniques, but he breaks things down into a really, really basic, simple format for you to understand. I've actively gone on to some of his pages and his posts and sent them to clients, said, this issue you've got with that shoulder, just do this, because this is so on the money. Just go and follow exactly what this guy says. So, sorry, he's not in the bad category. Squat University, definitely good.
And that is Dr. Aaron Horshig, in case anyone's interested.
Yep.
But yeah, really cool stuff. I think you mentioned it there. Was it functional patterns? Is that what you...
Do you know what functional patterns is?
No.
So functional patterns, essentially, they hate every single powerlifting move. They hate bench press. They hate squats. They hate deadlift. They hate anything that's like gym bro based. And they just believe that the body was meant to move in like, this bipedal movement. Well, we're bipedal hominids, right? That's how we move. We move with one side in conjunction with the other, and this twisting, turning movements. And a lot of their stuff is like flowing movements using like cable machines to kind of move and turn. They're very much about movement in quite a specific way. And they just have this idea that like a lot of the main compound movements that people do in the gym are messing people up because they're too repetitive. And I'm not actually disagreeing with that. I think a lot of powerlifters only do 3 exercises and they get very tight because they only do those 3 movements. I think diversity in training isn't high enough. But they're probably actively demonizing like deadlifts and squats and bench press. They've got their very own specific way of moving, but it just seems a bit mamby-pamby to me. It really does.
I'm just looking at one here, which is train your fascia. And it's a hard one because there are some weird, like, I probably put them in the Joel Seedman category. Like, I've just seen a guy go from like external rotation into internal rotation. And that's the only thing in fact, there's a guy just like kneeing a punch bag. I'm like, cool, bro. I'm like, this is fine. And this is what the hard bit is. Like, if they've trained that way all their life, cool. I get it. But most people haven't. Most people have tried out other things to build the foundation. You see it a lot with Hyrox athletes. They've done like bodybuilding. Joe Cross is a great example. So shout out to Joe Cross, who did a lot of bodybuilding stuff, and then he's transitioned into more the CrossFit side of stuff. Joe's strength base is out of this world. because he's put in the graft, he's put in the work, he's learnt the technique, he's got the muscle mass to support the movements. So I just look and go, well, if we think critically about this, have you built that physique just from training, or have you had to make a few errors in the past to build your physique in the first place?
I think if you only did the functional patterns side of style of training, there will be some big gaps in your strength. Because what's big compound lifts good for? It's good for stability. It's good for you just put a face then if he's come across something.
Mate, there's a dude just like trying to knee a kettlebell and doing some weird jumping stuff, and then I've just seen him throw a kettlebell whilst using a cable machine. Like, he's not got shoes on.
They have their own, so they have their own kettlebell.
Is it like a bouncy kettlebell?
I think it's a water kettlebell or something like that.
Right.
So that actually, believe it or not, I actually saw that. I actually thought that looked quite good. The kettlebell. But they just do some funny things, and they've got their own very, like, it's almost a bit culty. Do you know what I mean? When you go in the comments section, it's like, yeah, glad you're saying this again. It's a bit of like a functional patterns cult. So
okay,
yeah, I'm not into that.
Well, I've just given him a follow, mate, because I want to see more of that random stuff, so I can maybe do some authority jacking on that soon.
Follow before the blog.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for turning my attention to that. I'm really intrigued by that.
It's odd.
Right, I'm going to go a bit more vague now, if that's all right, because I'm keen. I was hesitant maybe bringing names into this one, but, you know, if the shoe fits, should we say?
Yeah.
I have this big beef at the minute about sexualized fitness.
Oh, I'm actually really happy you brought this up. It's interesting, yeah. Because hot topic, this.
I feel like his industry can be so much more than what it is. And the bit that probably turns people off is the amount of arses and abs out there. And I'm like, is this what our industry has become? Is this it?
Again, this is another interesting topic, right? Because there's two ways of looking at it. When you train hard and you push yourself and you're disciplined and you're dedicated, one of the lovely byproducts of that is you look better. And maybe on social media, you occasionally want to show that off. But then people then take it too far. And like, we all know those Instagram accounts of girls, right, who they're doing an RDL, but the camera's positioned almost directly on the arse crack, and we're getting very little of the actual movement and a lot of arse cheeks. So there's that side of it where you're like, these girls clearly know what they're doing. There's a sexual aspect to that. But I think it comes with the territory, doesn't it? Anytime you start working and talking about bodies and physiques and things like that, there's always going to be that sexualization of it. There's no, I think it's a good talking point, but I honestly don't think there's any way around it, because it's sometimes open to interpretation a little bit as well.
I've wrote here, and I put something on my story a while ago, which is, don't confuse ability with attention. And if you are someone who is, and this is a hard thing to talk about because we are two straight white men sat around judging what unfortunately is mainly women. And I don't know how much of that is empowering, how much of that is... Yeah.
I've learned a lot today.
I don't know if you've noticed, mate, but we have Ted.
Had to get that out there.
Yeah, you did. I don't know, it's a weird one. It's just... I find it hard to discuss because I'm like, if that's what you want to do, cool. But then deep down, I'm thinking, what if you do become a mum one day? And what if your kids' mates get hold of what you used to do and be like, saw your mum's arse, mate, from Instagram. Tell you what, I'm going to save that in the bank. It's like, do I really want that? I don't know. Like that's the way the world's going, and it sort of bothers me a bit because attention isn't ability. And unfortunately, I'm going a bit of a tangent, but there's a Jack Johnson song called Where'd All the Good People Go? And it resonates with me a lot, that song. There's some lyrics in it, which is essentially, I heard him on a press tour and he was talking about like, we keep making stupid people famous and I don't understand why we're doing it. And obviously they're Jack Johnson's words, not mine. But to be famous 100 years ago, you had to either do something horrifically bad or do something really good.
Yeah.
And now it's like...
That's a really fascinating point. That, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, yeah, like if you go back to like history and you study history, their names are imprinted in history for two reasons. They were either phenomenally intelligent and had some amazing ideas, or they were very sinister characters. But nowadays, the headlines are full of desperate housewives of this, and Towie this, and Made in Chelsea this, and this reality show like Love Island, for example.
Yeah,
Love Island is catapulting people into fame who aren't really bringing that. I mean, honestly, even now, like, I don't know why it's so popular. I wish I knew what people saw in Love Island. I just don't get it. And I actually know quite intelligent people that when Love Island's on, they'll just sit there with the missus, like blokes as well, will sit there with the missus and watch this full series of Love Island. I've never got it. I've never understood it. I still can't. I watched 5-10 minutes of it, and I can feel the brain cells evaporating from my brain.
It's just a big social experiment, isn't it? Which, if you think it is really, like for me and you, we were, like in a committed relationship with a kid. Sometimes seeing people just go make car crash decisions, it's quite entertaining, because you're a bit like, oh, why have you done that? And sometimes you do get invested in people, and you're like, I want you to do well. But I think it's Chris Williamson who described it, Love Island, as the Champions League of party boys.
Right, okay.
I know. I can't unsee that now.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. It is a hard one. And I saw a quote recently which was, never have we documented so much but achieved so little. Mm-hmm. It's true.
Never have we documented so much but achieved so little. Yeah, it's interesting that. I always think back to the... again, names shocking today. There was a famous quote, and I mentioned it on the podcast a few weeks ago. It was by the first lady of one of the American presidents, and she said, "Small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, great minds talk about ideas." And I think, how many conversations with people do I have that are about ideas nowadays, and how many people are willing to talk about ideas? And I actually actively want to talk about ideas. And I think me and you're probably in that category of people, for me, who we talk about a lot of different things we've got going on. But in your close circle of friends, how many people are you chatting to about ideas, like things that are in the kind of news, things that are on your mind, things that can bring about change? How many of those conversations are you having? And then how many conversations are you just having about other people? And this Love Island thing, it's like when you go into a cafe somewhere and you just hear this conversation about Love Island, and like, I hate it, and I hate myself for it, but I just think small minds. I just think small minds.
And it's a hard one because, again, to give them credit, it is very, they call it reality TV, but it's far from reality at the minute, so it's very staged. A lot of it's very... Do you know if
it's all coming out now. Yeah, it's all coming out about how staged it is as well, and how set up it is. But I don't know. It's just one of those things in society that I feel is a bit dystopian for me, where everyone else gets it and I don't. And I'm like, why am I not understanding why everyone likes this? It's always been a bit of an anomaly to me.
When we sat down with the PPW guys, the Pro Pursuit Wrestling guys, and they mentioned that WWE now, they have end credits roll at the end, saying like, screenplay written by, whatever, and like script written by. I think reality TV is going to become that soon. Because if people are working behind the scenes to get a narrative...
Well, I mean, that happens anyway, right? So Love Island finishes and the credits roll.
Producers.
Yeah.
They're not producers, mate. They are scripters. And that's what... I think that's why we're wising up to it a little bit. We're like... I mean, maybe just people watch it for Maya Jama. Maybe that's why.
She's in my top 3, mate. I'm not going to lie.
Who's the other two, mate? Who's the other two?
Oh, do you know number 1 is?
Just remember Amy's listening.
Amy knows.
Oh, does she?
Yeah,
Okay,
we've openly discussed who our top 3 is, and we've always said if there was ever a pass on the top 3, you could have it. Right. Number 1 of all time for me is again, names completely forgot.
Memorable one then.
Oh God, I'm having a nightmare today. You can tell about COVID. I feel like my memory recall today is terrible. I remembered it. Michelle Keegan.
Okay.
But for me, he's number 1. Oh, right. Just unbelievable.
I do love Mish, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Michelle Keegan is just number 1. Maya Jam is in there somewhere. But I think one of my old favourites has always got to be, and she's a bit of a bad girl as well, which I quite like about her, Megan Fox.
Megan Fox. Right. I think it's a canon event when you first watch Transformers.
Yeah,
You're
it
like,
is. Yeah. Who's that? That was it. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, what the hell? Yeah, like, that was it. I think it was Transformers, where she blew on the scene, and she was like, wow, this is someone to pay attention to. So if I had to rank her, I'd probably say...
Oh, this is unexpected today, mate. I didn't expect this today.
We go off on a tangent, we always do. I'd probably say top 3 for me is Michelle Keegan, Maya Jama, and then Megan Fox.
Okay.
I've got to know yours now, mate. Come on, spill the beans.
I've never actually spoken about this. I do like Mish, I'm not going to lie.
Do you?
Yeah,
she's top 3 for you?
Yeah, she's top 3 for me.
It's a girl next door thing, isn't it? She
Yeah.
seems like... And then when she got with Mark Wright, I was like, oh, God, no. She's got with someone on Tower.
It's going to become an
really annoyed me, that.
Essex girl.
That really annoyed me.
Yeah.
But I think over time, I've actually weirdly come to like him a little bit. I think he's mellowed out as he's got older.
He's quite like an ambitious guy as well.
Yeah, he's on some talk shows now, and he seems to come across quite well, so he's grown on me.
I used to have Cheryl Cole back in the day. I'm not going to lie.
Did you?
She always sticks with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a theme here. It's very much like dark hair, dark eyes.
Yeah.
And then, do you know what? I don't know. It's been a while since I've thought about a topic. Come back to me on this.
Okay.
Come back to me on this. I did see a really cool reel the other day, just a meme that someone sent me. And they're having this conversation, just somebody at a dinner party. They're like, right, then Russell, who would your free pass be? And he paused for ages and he went, Claire from accounts.
I love that.
You don't answer that way,
I've
mate.
seen that, yeah.
No,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
answer like that.
It's like, I saw, there was a sketch years ago on TV, and it was like some wives and couples and husbands around a table. And they're all talking about, like, if you could have a pass, who would it be? And then one bloke goes, yeah, same thing, like, Michelle from accounts. And his missus goes, what? Where were we at? I completely forgot where we are.
We were on, mate, Arses and Abs, which is sort of related to what we were just talking about. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I blame Kardashians for a lot of stuff, mate. I'm not going to lie. And I've called them out before, so that's no news for anyone.
It's weird because they're actually, you know, when you look at the Kardashians, they're quite astute business people. They've done a lot. They sell a lot of things. But, you know, just watch the Kardashians reality show for one episode and tell me these people aren't just like airheads. Do you know what I mean?
Bit that got me, and I've said this before, is the mum called Chris? Is it Kris Jenner? The mum?
Kris Jenner, I think. Oh, don't quote me on that, mate. Or is that the dad?
That's Bruce / Caitlyn.
Yeah. God,
Okay.
you know, have you been watching it, mate? It's coming out.
This is the hard bit, right? I'm going to make a weird link now. When somebody says about, like, you ever met a hardcore atheist?
No.
Have you not?
Someone who's like really science-based.
No, really science-based, completely anti-religion. They know a lot about religion.
Right, okay.
Because they've had to form an opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like and I've tried, I'm like, do you know what? Let me just try and understand what they do. And I understand why people get dragged into it, because it is fascinating.
Well, the amount of times I've walked in on Amy and she's been watching it, and I've sat down for 5-10 minutes and seen bits. I should know these people, but
yeah,
there's so many Ks, I just struggle to keep up with who's who.
Somebody said to me, he's like, I just find it suspicious how the girls are KKK. Conspiracy.
That's a great point. But you know, you're getting all these people now, like, I'm not going to say names because they're actually mildly close family friends of ours, but you're getting all these girls now who are naming their kids with like all H's or like of a certain letter.
We're all B's, by the way.
You're all what?
We're all B's.
Oh yeah, really? Was that intentional, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was before the Kardashians.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
maybe
Thank you.
Maybe the Thompsons set the trend there.
Maybe, yeah.
The Kardashians copied the Thompsons, that's what it was.
When a letter come to our door, mate, and it would B. Thompson, we were like, oh, God. Who's this? Which one is it? It's a nightmare.
Who's going to open it?
Honestly.
Brilliant. Where was I going with that? I completely forgot again. Been a fun episode, this one.
I've really enjoyed this one. Yeah.
I've giggled more than I have.
I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed this.
Any others that I want to bring attention to? I guess someone who we haven't mentioned the name of for a while. People who've got like again in the Liver King like circle. People who are very much like my way, the highway. Have to do it. This demonise a lot of the things and ways of eating. It's mainly with eating people, isn't it? People have very kind of specific rules when it comes to eating. And Eddie Abu is one who I just think is very polarising and plays into that shock factor, tries to shock people, and just isn't someone I would get my clients to follow.
I've heard of some great nicknames for Eddie Abu, because he loves eggs, doesn't he? I've heard him called Eggy Abu. That's great. That's great. I'm into
Like
that. I'm into that. And I saw like a Liver King comparison, which was the Egg Prince.
Yeah, for instance. Okay. Nice.
Great. Yeah, why not? But you're right. It's just that anyone, as a rule of thumb now, anyone who's very extreme and polarizing in the views, just question their intentions. I think that's a fair shout.
What I'll say with nutrition is there's a lot of people out there who've got really deep-rooted psychological issues with food, and they're looking for a pill, they're looking for a diet, they're looking for something to solve that. They can't seem to crack their nutrition, whether it's from a fat loss point of view, fat gain point of view, whether it's an issue they've got with an autoimmune disease, whether it's a skin condition, whether it's irritable bowel syndrome. They've got something that's going on. And some of these are conditions and some of these are psychological things. And they're looking for a fix. Now, someone like Eddie Abu, it might work for like 10% of people that take his program. They might find that skin condition, it was that cornstarch that was in your burgers that you were eating, or it was that excess amount of sugar, and you really had to look after that. And they'll find little bits of like healing from this change to their food. But most people, there's other things that you need to focus on. There's other kind of really important stuff when it comes to mapping out your week and food and quality. You don't need to be as excessive with cutting things out. It's very polarised in its opinion.
It's called the elimination diet. I know because I had to do one for the FODMAP stuff, which I think I've spoken to you about. And I'm helping someone with it at the moment. Obviously, I went on a nutrition qualification, Precision Nutrition, who are an amazing company. And I learned a little bit more about this, and essentially just eliminate certain subcategories of food that can cause inflammatory problems. So for me, there's a subgroup called polyols, I think they're called, and it involves like avocado, apple. I'm a nightmare with them. Like garlic, onion. I can't have it, mate.
Really? You don't have garlic and onion? You don't have that?
I love it, but I can't have it. It wrecks me.
It's interesting. In what way? For more autoimmune issues?
So the way that my inflammation works is it attacks certain parts of my body. So like specifically the SI joint in my spine, in my pelvis, and then a few vertebrae in my back. So it's really annoying. And then now it starts to affect my eyes and my thinking. And I'm like, screw this. I just need to get to the bottom of it. So it is really irritating. And I'm really respectful of that information. But for someone to monetize that, it's really irritating.
And again, a person who I don't know, he doesn't seem to be getting as much engagement now, so I assume that's going to mean like not as many people are buying into him. I think he's going to be one of those people who gets big for a certain period of time and then dies off. And I said this from the start about him.
Yep.
And I know I actually hadn't been in his profile for, I want to say, nearly a year now. But I went on there this morning just to have a little look at what he was doing, see if he was still about, see what kind of content he's still putting out. And it's still the same message. He was even talking, he even had one video where he was like talking about when he first came onto social media and why he blew up and what was getting so much engagement, which makes me think as well, he's jumping back to that to try and be a bit more philosophical about why he's not getting as much engagement now. But yeah, he's just, again, a fad person who's going to come around with something that, you know, is a different message, something a little bit shocking. He's swearing a lot. He's in your face. He's not your usual nutrition-looking bloke, but he's going to be here and gone, for sure.
Having spent a little bit more time around people who are creating viral content and trying to steal with class, if that makes sense. They're trying to look at the formula, the script, and then do it their way with ethics and whatever. Some people, or most people, will have a message and they'll retry things at least 100 times. They'll just repackage things, and on that 99th try, it'll blow up. And if you see some people who just appear out of nowhere, that's probably the formula they've tried, where it's just been rinse and repeat, package this up a different way, and then one thing hits, and then all their other stuff hits, and then all of a sudden things start to spiral a little bit.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the ethical-based coaches right now, or the ethical-based practitioners, they're the ones who should be doing stuff like this. Not these charlatans and people who are just after some quick money. Like, I'm a big believer that you've got to play the game to change the game sometimes.
But that then feeds back into like a really good quote that Mick Blythe said, you know, sell out without selling out. And a lot of the guys that do this, and are really good at it and get results year in, year out, and have been in business consistently for a long period of time with great reviews and people only have good things to say about them, they're probably not the people that want to go online and put like a lion's mane on their head and like, you know, sit there with a bare chest out and talk about tenants while they slice open a liver on a table with a very sharp knife. They're very shocking images, and there's a reason Liver King does that.
I wondered why you had that throne downstairs. Is that the next bit of viral content for you?
The throne?
Just trying to throw Ryan under the bus now. He's not got a throne.
That's in the toilet now.
It's a throne made out of white monster.
Should do that, or me empty cans.
I think you could, mate.
Yeah, a throne made out of white monster, that'd be quite cool. But no, again, the good coaches tend to avoid that. They tend to kind of stay a little bit like, you know, feet on the floor, shall we say.
Yeah, maybe they need to do, you know, step out of the comfort zone a little bit and not sell the soul. Like there's a very fine line between selling your soul and, you know, doing silly dances on Instagram to tell people about nutrition. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure with it as well. I think when you blow up quite quickly, it's like in most things, everything's a cyclical trend, isn't it? What you do right now might be great and popular. You amass all these followers, and all of a sudden people just kind of tune off from you a little bit. Your message isn't as kind of hard and as hitting home, and I think that's why a lot of people struggle over time to kind of, even with their message and being consistent with it. And sometimes you have to change a little bit as well. Sometimes you mix things up. It's very difficult to be good online for long periods of time, isn't it? That's what I've always found.
True. My last one of people to avoid, mate, is Andy Elliott. Just ignore him. Don't listen to anything he says. It really bothers me.
Yeah, he's in that kind of like that business category of like just fucking work your ass off, and I think he preaches a life that again it probably isn't really that true.
My favourite / one that made me laugh the most was when I heard him. There's just this guy. I think he's doing a talk for car salesmen, and he crouches down next to this guy and he says, "Right, how many cars did you sell last month?" And he goes, 4. So, okay, how many do you want to sell? It's like 10. He's like, if I kidnap your family, would you sell 10 cars? And he's like, whoa, Andy, what are you talking about? Like, if you kidnap my family, mate, I'm going to be asking questions. Like, and it's just this weird, extreme way of thinking. I'm like, what a weird state to put people in. Like, why?
He's trying to tap into that shock value of things, and he's about like extreme results. He wants sales and results at any means necessary. It's a bit like the Wolf of Wall Street style. And maybe there is something to that in terms of pushing yourself and getting a little bit more out of yourself. But yeah, like is that the tactic to use? I don't know. He got famous quite recently. Have we discussed this on the podcast? Where he was in Dubai, wasn't he, doing like one of his big events, and he got his 2 daughters on stage, and he'd actually promised them that if they get 6-packs for this event, he would take them on an all expenses paid trip to Dubai. They can go around the mall and they can have whatever they want, basically. And they came up on stage and he forced them to pull the tops up, show the 6-packs, and the crowd kind of seemed to love it. He posted it all over his social media, but the backlash from it was phenomenal. He just seemed to really miss the point in terms of, yeah, you might have quite an extreme view on getting results in everything that you do, whether it's work, sales, your own physique, but don't push that on the kids at this age. Don't make them be, number one, motivated by like a 6-pack. They're not doing it for a 6-pack. They're doing it to like, you know, if you want to get a kid a 6-pack, get him into sports. Like, and why do you want your kids to have a 6-pack? It was probably more driven by, like, he set the goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
He set that end goal. It wasn't them that set it. He said, I want you to have a 6-pack. And if you get a 6-pack like I want you to have, I will reward that. It wasn't driven by them, it was driven by him. That was one of the biggest issues. But then there's a lot of, I mean, these girls were like, what was like 10 and 8 or something like that? Maybe something around there. Yeah, wild. But again, he's got his own thoughts around why he's done well in life. And for him, it's conquering those things. But I think if you instill that pressure too young at an early age, you set yourself up for a real difficult, you know, imagine them in their teenage years, they might become real issues.
Yeah. I've always had this motto, which is, I'm somebody's dad. And I can't help but think that I used to have a manager years ago, and he was a big belief challenger. And he once described it as, it's like someone saying your dad's a knobhead. Like, he might be. And you have to face that reality. But if he's not, you have to understand facts and opinions, basically.
Yeah.
Their dad is probably a knobhead. And that's really hard. That's like therapy pending. Like, that's a really tough thing to overcome. Because it's like, if your dad loses sight of people over profits, it's the other way around for him. It's probably profits over people. He probably don't care.
It's hard for the kids at that age as well, because they've now been all over. So that video went pretty viral, didn't it? And got a lot of backlash. And it's very easy for the kids to misinterpret that as backlash against them as well.
Yeah.
So if they've got social media and they've seen all these comments about their dad and them, and they may, because no one's really saying it's their fault. They're definitely, everyone's blaming the dad. But at that age, can you decipher that? Can you interpret that in the right way, or are you going to take that as a bit of a kind of a diminution on your person and who you are? So kids will struggle with that, I think.
It's tough, and I suppose it's like, well, I've got all these issues, but there's a Lamborghini over there. I'm like, that's sound, mate. Like, you could crash that Lamborghini tomorrow, and then you've got fucking nothing. Like, you still got to live in your own head. Do you know what I mean? So that's probably where I struggle the most.
Money comes and goes. Character is forever.
That seems like a great place to leave it.
Have you got anything else, anybody else you want to highlight, good or bad?
Good or bad? Probably from a comedic side, I love Paul Alima. Alima Omega. I heard him on Spencer Matthews' podcast recently.
Okay.
I didn't know how just unbelievably athletic he was. Former pro footballer, former pro rugby player.
Absolutely.
Body double for Anthony Joshua. I'm like, I love this guy.
Wow. Okay.
And he just takes the mick online.
A lot of strings to his bow. Funny, down to earth. Yeah.
I just like him. Silly laugh.
I'm trying to think of guys like that I quite like. There is a guy, but I'm not going to remember his name because my memory recall today is shocking. But yeah, there's a few funny guys online that just make you giggle. They take the piss out of like things that are quite serious.
Yeah.
And he's definitely like that.
He's great. And I just think, this episode's been an interesting one for us both, I think, because we've come from a place of love, but then we've also come from a place of, this is dumb, can we stop doing this?
Yeah.
So I'm really glad you brought this to the table, mate. And again, I'd love to know other people's best and worst.
Absolutely. Hit us up wherever you listen to this. Drop us a comment. YouTube, Spotify. You can't really comment. In fact, you can comment on the Spotify, actually.
You can.
Apple Podcast, I think it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But best place is social media. Fit Dads Podcast. And I'm r5.online, and it's
at Thompson Training with an underscore. Not hunted down Thompson Training yet, but I will find you.
He'll come. Guys, thank you for joining us on the Fit Dads Podcast. See you in the next one.
See you soon.
My man.
Cheers,
awesome.
mate.
Yeah, good
Appreciate that.